Hello, this is Victor. I'm here with a new painting tutorial, and in the next tutorial I'm going to explain how to paint a Liberator according to these colors. So these are the colors I'm using for my Stormcast Eternals, and I'm going to explain how to paint, how I paint this Liberator. So keep tuned, and let's start. So this is the Liberator I'm going to use. I'm going to use one of the standards, and maybe later on I will do another tutorial explaining the different things that I do on the champion of the unit, because they have some things that are more peculiar. So let's start on this one. And the first thing is we are going to apply the base color for the armor. The base color that I'm using for this armor is the Azyr green. It's this green that looks like a little bit like the bronze oxide, something like that. And we are going to paint, apply a thin layer of this. As you can see, I prime the miniatures with white. So as I go for light colors, I like to use white as a primer, and I'm going to apply this all over the miniature, in all the armor plates and all the places that I want to apply. I will try to avoid to dirtying other parts, but as this is the base color and the next ones are going to be the darker in most of the places, is not that critical. So as you can see, just applying the base color, and and I will be back once it's applied. So this is how it's looking like after applying the Azyr green. So now, next step, I'm going to work with the gold. I use the base color of gold directly on white. I will use Retributor armor. It's a great color. It's working very well on top of any prime, or at least the ones I test it on top of red, on top of black, on top of white, and on top of other colors, and it's working perfectly. So I will apply this gold. What I will do first, here is just observe, I will apply all the base colors. So I will apply this base color also on all the golden parts, and I will be back after applying that. So the green, now it's applied, and also the gold, as I said, I applied here and all these parts, and I'm also at the same time painting this one. So I will do these two miniatures in this tutorial, especially when I have to do something special for the leader of the unit, the champion. So you can see I paint them separately. When it's joined, you will not notice the difference. So the next step that I will do is I will paint the leather parts with dark brown, and to use that, the color I will use to do that is this one, Dumbull brown. It's quite a dark brown. I like to use this one because it's contrasting very well with the green and the lighter areas. So, and again, I will apply this as a base color on all the parts that go on brown. There's going to be these things here. It's going to be the bells, and I also do these parts. I don't know how to call these as brown, because I'm imagining them more as leather that have this text engraved on the leather. And also the joints of the armor, I'm thinking that they are like leather joints. So I will paint them also in brown, and then we are going to make them darker. So I will apply the brown on all these parts, and once it's done I will be back, because there is not many, it's not any mystery here. It's just carefully trying not to dirty the green, apply the brown, You can see I take quite a detail brush, and I will be doing this on all the joints, so you see that it's quite straightforward. And yeah, on this case I start painting the base colors in all the parts, having all the base colors done, and after that we will start doing the shading and the highlights. But I like to have first all the base colors applied. So I will be back once it's applied to do the next phase. So the brown now is applied. Next step will be to do the purple, and the color that I use in that case is the Naharod Night. Again, as I explained before, just applying the base colors on these miniatures. I am also painting, as I explained before as well, the champion of the unit at the same time, so to give you an idea how he will look like, applying the same steps that I'm explaining. In case I do something different on that guy, I will also explain that on camera. Let's go to here, and again, there is not much mystery. It's just apply a thin coat of Naharod Night, and yeah, this color should not give any issue to you, and one thin layer should be more than enough to do this color. So yeah, I will do that here, and in that case I will also paint this thing here. So, and I will be back once this is done. So the purple is now done. Here you see where I put the purple on the head. I realize that there's a white point there. I will touch something. I will do this. The next color that I will do is the one that I use for the shoulder pads and the shields. So I will also apply it. No, I will do first the metallic, and then I will do the other color. So for the metallic color, I will use, see, I will use lead belcher. So I will apply this at the back of the shields and on the hammers. So I will just do a layer, and this color works quite well on top of black, white, and as I will do a wash with a nude oil later on, this is not a problem. As I explained before, each time in that case I'm doing all the base colors first. So I will do now here the metallic. As you can see, it's quite fast and not much difficult to do. So I do that, and I will do that as well on the champion of the unit. So I will work on that, and I will be back once I'm finished. So metallic is done. Here you see on the hammer. I have to do one thing here. I just realized now. Okay. And here also in that hammer, I leave this because here I will do a glowing effect. I will do this comet in blue glowing effect, and this will also help to distinguish the champion of the unit. So I can also paint, as you can see, this part, the inside of the shield. So next step is the base color for the white, and the base color I use for the white is Gauss Blaster Green. So I will apply this on the shield. That one, the shield is already applied here, but I will do also the rim around the shield, and I will apply this on the shoulder pads. This is a very pale green, and is the one that is giving me this greenish background on the white. So I will apply this on the shoulder pad. And as usual, I apply it quite thin down. I will do the same on the other shoulder pad. So I will do this and I will be back once this is done. But here there is not much mystery or techniques that I'm using, just applying a thin layer of thinned Gauss and blaster green. So at this point all the base colors have been done. Okay, and we will start doing first the washes and to create the shading on this miniature. So we will start using Agvax Airshade on the gold and on the brown parts. So I will first apply Agvax Airshade on this thing here, so on this thing that does like a scales, metal scales, or like a, what's called this, a chainmail but make of scales instead of, so I don't know how this is called in English. So as you can see, this is enough. Then I will apply this on all the wooden parts as well, wooden parts and leather parts. We'll apply this on the bell. Okay, be careful not to go into the green part. Try to be clean in that work, because we don't want here. Just apply very little to make the thinner line darker between the brown and the green, but try to avoid to go too much into the green. If you have too much accumulated, take it a little bit out, and then I will go into the joints of the armors here and especially on the back. So you apply this. This is quite straightforward and will give you, all the wrinkles will pop up. Same here. Here. And it's time to paint these leather things. In my case are leather, in other cases they use that are what's called this patch. These are made of patch, but parchment. But I wanted to make them look like leather. So as you can see, I apply this straightforward on the knife all over the gold and on the brown parts. And we are also going to do the bell here. Try to avoid that paint is accumulated here on the green part. I want to keep the green as clean as possible when doing that. Then on the hammer we are going to do the handle. I will not apply in that case Agvax Airshade on the metal part of the hammer, on the head of the hammer. I only apply this on the leathery parts and on the gold. Then these decorations okay, and here I did a small mistake. We try to avoid to go into the white area, and if that happens later on we will need to do corrections with the light green, because unless you wanted to trim a little bit like I'm doing here, but put very little, you don't need too much. And I'm going to trim the hammer. And the other shoulder pad. You put a little bit too much, spread it out all over the shoulder pad. And this will be done here. Miss this. Don't miss, but it was looking quite pale for my. What was I looking? Okay. Put a little bit more on this part here on the bell, on this part of the armor, and we're going to do also a wash on the mask, on the golden mask. Okay. This thing here. Okay, now we have to wait that this dries, so I will wait until this is completely dry and I will be back to do the next step. So the wash with Agate Earthshade is done. You see now that it's darker. We have a very nice shadowing on this part here, and also well, the metal is looking much dull. We are going to leave it like that for a moment, and we will start working on the green part of the armor. And the wash I'm going to use for the armor, it's, let me see if I find it now, it's this one, Coelia and Green Shade. It's one, there are 3 washes for green, and this is the one that is, let me put it here and I will show you, you will see the color, is the one that is a little bit bluish, as you can see here. So this is the one I will use to do the wash on the armor, but I will not wash the armor straightforward. I will apply this directly on the recesses and very thin down. So just to give a nice shading, but with not making it too dark. And if it's accumulated fast, I will remove it from the areas where this shade is accumulated. So I don't want to make a dark shade in that case. And as you can see, apply here on the recesses. On the neck you can apply straightforward. This part is hidden, so what I will do is just, and will be, this part should have deeper shades. And then here on the separation between the white and the green part, I will do like that, and this will create a very nice hard transition between the two colors and will create more definition. The rivets, it's very important that you, and in some cases there is too much wash. Later on we are going to clean this as usual. It's important, I was saying, that we mark all the rivets with, we see that the rivets are well shaded, because we are going to go later on rivet by rivet highlighting them. But to make the rivets really pop up, first you need to create a shade around these rivets. So this is the way to go, and then on the other side I will do the same. And I will do here. This is the first stage of the shading, so if it's not perfect, don't be too concerned. But you want to, here I do the shading more because it's the deeper part, so I do the shading harder. You have to balance the shading how you want it. So again, here I try to be very soft, and I just okay, so I will be working on that. And I will not apply this on the flat surfaces, on most of the flat surfaces. So for example here, it's important to give this definition, and then I will go here at the bottom and I will do something like this, especially here on where is the belt. And to be fair, this color can even be used if you miss a brown part, for example here, you can even use this color because it's so dark, the brown, that the AI will not know if you do it. Nobody will know if you've done that with green or with brown. So I do here, and then this is too dark, so I take a little bit out. Once this is done, I join them all. You see, this is a matter of patience. I try to be precise and just apply the wash where is needed. Again, here to increase the definition between the gold and the green part of the armor, I add a little bit of shade. Okay. And on the hand, you can see if you apply this on the wood, it will make on the leather will make it darker, but will not, it's not visible that you did a green shade. So you can do this as well, and I wanted to do this darker at this moment. So, and then on the hands I apply straightforward, and I let the sculpt to make the shade go into the recesses. So when the detail is small and when it's very texturized, it's better just to shade everything, and then it will go straight forward to the recesses. But when I go back to the armor plates, as you see, I just apply the shade here, and this is a mistake that I did on the gold. I touched the gold by mistake, so you try to clean it fast. Another thing that I will do, I will go back to the green, is I will also shade, I will also use the green shade on the golden parts. This will make the gold to look a little bit different, and we'll create some special shades. And you don't need to shade all the gold with green, only partially. This will make it much interesting. So as you can see here, you can take water if you think that is too much, and you only want to use it like more than a shade, like a glaze. Okay. You can do the same, but here you have to be very careful. You can do the same just on the shoulder pads, and what we'll do is just very little. You want to apply very little. You want to be very gentle with that. Will give the sensation that the gold is a little bit older. It's good sometimes experimenting to use different shades on colors that in principle is not the same. It's like in the Harlequins, I was using a little bit of purple shade on the gold as well. So you will change a little bit the tonality of the base color to what you want. As you can see now, looks like more all gold, and I like to give this touch to this part of the armor. I will do the same on the shield. Just to say one thing, the shield is not white yet. I will do the front of the shield will be done once it's assembled on the miniature, because then it's easier to work with that. So yeah, I will keep working on the shades on the green. We'll keep doing the same as you can see. So here, for example, again, this knee protection, you do the rivets, and then you try to do this thing, and then here it's important to do this slot, because we'll give very good definition between one piece and the other of the armor. So the shades have to, guys, I use it a lot to help to improve the definition of the armor and of the different parts sculpt. So here I will go and I will do the same here. So you have seen the idea. Just the last thing, the boots that have this type of this is a mistake, but I will correct this later. If that happens, don't worry, because later on we are going to highlight the other side. So this is why the shade here in that part can be done much rough, because we are going to work a lot. But when the area is very smooth like this one, we just want to apply a little bit, see, and then we are going to follow this plate separation here and improve. You see here I apply too much, I take off some shade, and then when I spread, it's smoothened. Okay, so I will finalize, I will review, I will check I will do the other leg as I did this one, and I will do the champion, and then I will be back. So next step, after doing you see how it's looking like when I did the work. I also work here, I have to say, I work the head a little bit more because I wanted to glue here. I do the same glowing effect that I do on the gold. It's not as visible when you do it on green, but it's quite okay for the moment. And I didn't did the play because I just glue it, so I don't want to mess up with the glue to have the risk of having glue on my brush. So we will wait until this device, and I will do the same as here later on. But just I wanted to show how it's looking like right now. So then the next step that I will do is I will apply Nun oil, and yeah, this Nun oil is almost finished. I have enough for what I want to do. We are going to use again the detail brush. I prefer to, well, here in the back we can use the big brush. We are going to apply Nun oil on this purple thing, and we can be generous here because I want to darken this purple. I want to make it more darker, and later on we are going to highlight with the base color again. So here we apply this, and on the front we are not going to apply because it's not needed, not enough base. And then here on the hammer, can use the same. I will apply something like that. I will do this. I will follow the shape of the hammer here, and I will apply next to the edge here to be sure that I go into these triangles that we have here, these slots, and I'll fill with Nun oil. So again, like that, and I will do something like that. I will not apply, and then yes, here on the bottom I will apply it all on all these parts, but on the top I will not apply more. Okay, the only thing we can do, the only thing is to follow here this thing and around this part of the hammer. So I apply a little bit more here and a little bit more here, just to enhance the shape of the hammer. And now we need to wait until this dries. We have done all the washers, so next step will be to start working on the highlights on the green armor. I think I will finish here the tutorial at this moment, or this part of the tutorial. I will, for editing reasons, I prefer to break it in small parts, or in smaller parts, because it's going to be quite long. So here I finish the first part, and then in the second part I will start working all the highlights on the armor. So yeah, that's all for this first part on the painting tutorial on the Stormcast Eternal, and please keep tuned to see the second part where I will explain how I do the highlights, and we are going to see more how it will look like at the end. That's all. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.